Hello, this is Module 5 of Innovations of Technology, presented by Daniel Prey. First thing we're looking at is a review of the articles. First article that we saw, the barriers to using Web 2.0, is going to be the basis of the presentation in slides to follow. So we'll get into that one in just a little bit. Almost all of the information came from the first article listed there. 7 common barriers that obstruct tech adoption in education. I'm not going to go through all 7 of them, but the ones that stuck out to me is that we as educators have to have a strong vision. Without a strong vision, without a plan, our technology will die. The teacher role, teacher being able to give up some of the power of traditional teaching roles and having the students guide their own learning. A lack of funds seems to be that will always be an uphill battle and a barrier. And then the last one would be going beyond the textbook, not just staying within the textbook that we're teaching, but finding articles outside of the textbook. The digital divide, a quarter of the nation is without broadband. The 2 big takeaways I took from that were the geography and the affordability, which we'll talk about also later in this presentation. But geography, just some places that the internet pulls to does not pull at a high enough rate to even download a picture or definitely stream a movie. And then the other big takeaway was the poverty in our nation. Families that are making less than $20,000 a year are just not able to afford bringing broadband and Wi-Fi into their homes. So then they're getting it, or would be getting it, in the schools if our schools are to that point. Open educational resources are basically shared free materials. I think about teachers pay teachers, something that we have at our fingertips. A lot of resources that are free. This would be aligning with more than just lessons and units, though. This would be curriculum, whole curriculums, which Engage New York, as far as math curriculum that we use at 323, is something that I would put under there as far as a free resource that is an entire curriculum. And then our last one, ITC, adoption barriers. Talked about the difference between primary versus secondary schools. Primary schools, we are able to use our ideas and try new things. We have a basis of kids with a longer period of time. For the most part, at St. George, we run things a little bit different. We run things more like a junior high. So I would have a reading class, a different math class, and a different homeroom. Secondary schools, they don't see those kids as much, maybe 45 minutes every day, or block scheduling, hour and a half every other day. It's too high risk to try new things. Just stick with what you know and stick with what has worked in the past, and you have to produce results. So again, sticking with what you know. The digital divide. Several things that I'd like to touch on that we've talked a little bit about. Geography of places that are able to get Wi-Fi broadband. The nation putting an emphasis on it, but not continuing to go through with that. And I understand that one of the articles talked about it changing and evolving, so there's a hesitation to make it a mandated government issue. Poverty, which will always be around, So there will always be a digital divide. It's sad but true. People are not able to get the internet in their homes. They have other priorities. You have your four walls that you need to have first, with water and basic transportation, clothing. So it's not a priority to have, and it's more of a luxury. Availability and training. Availability, being around, and training of teachers. We're putting our training into maybe pedagogy or something different than training teachers to use the technology, even if they have the technology. Even at our district, my district, we do not train as well as we should with the given technology that we have. We'll talk about in a little bit. What's being done? Smartphones are helping bridge the gap. A smartphone is a iPad. It is a laptop in your hand. The fact that you can go to Starbucks and get on the internet and collaborate and do some different things with technology is a great thing, and smartphones are becoming cheaper and cheaper, and the options are available out there, and so much that the government will help subsidize those or provide smartphones. And what can be done as far as the digital divide is a great question. Overall, there's no easy solution. Getting a little political-like here, but there's no easy solution to do this. How do you take away poverty? What do we pump more money into? What do we take money away from? So I don't feel like there's a real easy fix, but if we as principals can encourage our staff to get trained in these free web seminars, these free activities, these free tutorials, that's one way that we can help bridge that gap. With our knowledge comes knowledge through our kids. What's the future? What are the 21st century skill sets that we talked about through these articles? What do kids need to know? They need to know real life problem solving. They need to be creative. They need to be able to critically think. All of these 21st century skills and technology go hand in hand. Self-direction is a big one, to point a kid into a lesson over Greek gods, giving them all the options and saying, pick one and here we go. Now you could get a textbook in everybody's hand, but you could also get QR codes and certain websites that they could go to look up different information. Accountability and responsibility through collaboration and technology if you're working with groups. So lots of good things that we can use in our 21st century skill sets, that we can be utilizing technology. Off the top of my head, speaking specifically to iPads and laptops, and creating Google Forms and Google Classrooms and bouncing ideas off each other's in real time. The global economy and the internet, how has it impacted me? I would say not so much. I continue to have a smartphone. I have an iPad. I've invested in SpheroBots for my daughter and my classroom. So I wouldn't say the global economy has hindered me from using technology. I don't have the most updated Chrome notebook or desktop or iPad, but what's the point when it's always going out of date? As far as my classroom goes, we have iPads, but the economy definitely has hindered the fact that we're not going one-to-one. We're about 1-to-2. Our high school is that way, but down at the elementary school, in 5th and 6th grade, we're 1-to-1. 3-4 is about 1-to-2 right now. 1st and 2nd grade is about 1-to-4, 1-to-5. And kindergarten would not be at all. And the district would be the same, kind of speaking of the classroom district. We're not able to upgrade our iPads that we have currently, so they are going out of date. One area that I wanted to talk about was getting leasing iPads, but apparently that's too expensive, so that would be another good one. Technology training. What do I need more training in? I need more training in Google. I need more training in Google Classroom, Google Forums, Google everything. I would love to get into more training with that. Virtual reality, based off several lessons that we've seen so far in this class, I think virtual reality and conversations that I've had with my tech guy, virtual reality would be a great thing to get in my classroom. Coding, I have SpheroBots, that I've said before. I'd like to have a little more training than just my own personal knowledge. And the unknown. I don't know what else is out there. If you don't know, you don't know. And I'd love to have just more technology resources. And this class has helped me. I've already filled out an entire page and continuing going on with just all the great resources that we've seen through presentations or that we've seen through class discussions. So I just like to know more. More knowledge is power. 21st Century at Rock Creek, USD 323. What do we have? We've talked about iPads. We've talked about laptops. We also have smart boards in every classroom. We have projectors in every classroom. We have student responses that we don't use very much. Our iPads also can act as student responses. And we have a great broadband system. In fact, in every classroom we have one mounted. So we are overloaded on technology. I feel like the problem that we have now is that it's not up to date. It's second generation iPads instead of whatever generation that we're on right now. So that's why I'd at least like to see where we're going. We have some really good stuff, but we need to continue to look into the leasing side of things. Advantages, individualized programs that you can set for the kids, even in specific practices that you're teaching. So if I would like to do my own as far as energy goes, I teach a scientific unit on energy, so I can have different kids working on different sources of energy they find interesting. Opens up the world, get onto the web, and it opens up anybody that has done anything that has put it on the web that has great ideas. It's just really a great thing to have. As far as read alouds go, to our students that are maybe not at that reading level, especially in the elementary school, or blind, deaf, we have different options for that also. Ownership of knowledge. It puts the ownership of knowledge back on the students and not so much I'm jamming it down their throats. And then you're able to collaborate not with just kids at your tables, but also collaborate outside of the school walls. Our disadvantages, social networking. I have a lot to say about it and a little time to talk. Social networking addictions, big time. You get on, it seems like we're always getting out our phones. So we're building that by doing some of these different things with the iPads and always getting on them. Spam popping up all the time, flooding our brains, flooding our fingers, pushing us to buy other things. Cyberbullying, we'll talk about in a minute. ID theft, people stealing your identity. You've heard about it through years and years on big major companies. Stealing others' work, that you're able to go onto forums and steal other people's works, and the ability to hide behind a computer. We'll talk about that in a second also. And cyberbullying is a real issue. It's a real issue. It doesn't matter what age. It can happen at any age. I've seen it in the 3-4 classroom that I teach at, all the way up to the highest school. Kids can hide behind their computers. Parents can hide behind their computers. We see it all the way into the district level also. We had a basketball game a few years ago, and parents were very upset about something, and they just blasted the district, and they can hide behind their computers. There's something to be said of an open forum, people coming, that you have to face say what you are thinking, and that kind of makes you think about things a little bit more. So ends my presentation on Module 5. Thanks, I hope you enjoyed.